So do you feel that we want something and when we get that something, we're not satisfied and we want more? And is that because we really don't know what we want?
Well, if I can be so honest for myself, I have had low self-worth, and my father left when I was 14, so I felt very abandoned. And I made up all these stories about myself because of my childhood, as we all do. And so I feel as though I have kind of kept a lid on my total awesomeness ability to receive myself. And because of that, I have limited my ability to expand with a partner, because that's all we're ever doing. I think a lot of us are afraid of having it all. I think we're afraid of joy because it's not so rampant in our world. If everybody was joyful and, living their dream life everywhere, you would feel more comfortable stepping up into your power. So I really believe that that's more of what's happening, is this fear of really having it all. And that's why we're here once again, to break through that. And I'm living through that right now. As much as I practice giving myself permission to have an awesome life, even though there's so much suffering in the world. And sometimes I even feel a little bit like I wish I could just bring more people to my home and enjoy the love. And, I am actually doing it. Instead of us thinking that we have to be suffering all the time. Not that suffering is a bad thing, but we really are having this opportunity. We can create heaven on earth, and focusing on love and acceptance and compassion. And it really does impact the world, what we think, each one of us. So thanks for having us here.
You mentioned about having it all. And even though we want it all, even if we had it all, we're so afraid to admit it because we're always so afraid of the other person not being there. I mean, I don't know about you, but sometimes I feel like I'm even afraid to say, I'm really happy all the time because, I should be like, oh yeah, I understand. Yeah, me too, And it's like, no, I want to say I'm happy. And I want to say I'm in a good place right now. And I don't want to have to put me down for someone else to feel good about themselves. But we do that. Why?
That's something that I notice all the time. Going to backyard parties and things like that, you'll see this, and I'll meet the woman and I'll talk, and she'll be talking about her horrible husband, and he's lazy and he's bad and, all selfish and all that kind of stuff. And, and I'm like, and I talk to the woman, she's like, wow, she's nice, she's attractive, she's cool, she's interesting. Then I go out and where the guys are, and all of a sudden I start talking to this guy, and it's like, man, he's really cool, he's really funny, he's really interesting, he's doing some philanthropic stuff because he wants to, not because of a tax deduction. And then he talks about his, ball and chain, and he's like, oh God, and then all of a sudden you meet him. And so here's this wonderful woman and this wonderful guy. But what I talk about is beach balls. And what it is the resentments. Right. Beach balls are, seemingly innocuous. They're little and they're even a little squishy. But you try and, if you have that in between you and your significant other, you're not going to be able to do a full hug. So why do we hold these resentments all the time against each other? And, at the end of the day, literally, it's something where it's like, hey, check in. Why the hell were you happy to be together? Those kinds of things, because you see people and they go on these very opulent vacations. And instead of being happy and everything, they remember and they remember and they remember, and it's like, hold on a second. It's like, why do I want to be in the relationship today? Why do I want to be in the relationship today? What is my goal for the relationship? And is it happening? And then what's my goal? What do I want to make her feel like? And is that happening? And certainly there's going to be people that are always, oh, wow, check that out, and they get lost by the shiny objects, and sometimes the shiny objects really are Maserati and a jet, and things like that. But it's like, I look at those people and I think, are you truly, truly happy? And that's the thing where we want to be able to check in, and it's like, what is it that I need? How do I feel? And am I getting and giving that feel back? Because, I look at it and I call love a business. If you're in a relationship, it is the most important corporation that you have. Okay. Because if you're in that relationship and it breaks up, it's going to cost you a lot of money. Yes. It's going to cost you horrible amounts of joy. It's going to be miserable. Yes. And so it's like, and every single corporation requires you to go for continuing ed. You got to leave your family for a week to go and learn the newest stuff, or you got to stay extra time to learn the software, all that. Yeah. Well, what about the continuing ed for the relationship? What about that week that you have to go where you're going to concentrate and it's like, what's the best thing about this company? How can I sell this company? How can I make this company? What would happen if we did that for our relationships?